Welcome back. I'm dating coach Naz, and in today's video, I want to get into why going with the flow is going to hold you back in love and in life. So if you are interested, then please keep on watching. So the first thing that I want to say is that I'm going to actually go get into some of the things that I hear men say, and this is exactly what is going to hold you back. Okay, and I'm going to be honest because I am not doing this work to get to be loved or to get validation. I'm really doing this for those people, for those men that might, it's like a reflection for you to see, okay, maybe I am doing this a little bit and I need to work on this a little bit more. And I am kind of holding myself back. So this video, my existence on YouTube is only for that reason. Okay. So the first thing that I want to get into as a dating coach, this is something that I always hear is, I'm just going to go with the flow and I'm going to find love and it's just going to happen. And firstly, I want to let you guys know that going with the flow, it sounds nice. And by the way, I was somebody that was the biggest advocate for this. I'm just going to go with the flow and I'm like water. Whatever comes at me, I'm going to go, I didn't have any intention, direction. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't have any clarity. And that's what ended up why I got a divorce because that's what happens when you're going with the flow and you don't know why you're going there. You don't know who you are. So my biggest thing, if you want to really take something out of this video, first of all, stop saying that, going with the flow, okay? There's a way, again, to go with the flow. If you're somebody that has intention, you have purpose, you are enjoying your life, you're the best version of yourself, you're secure, you're working on your emotional intelligence, and then you say, well, I'm just, I'm working on being my best self, and when that person is ready, I'm going to be ready because I'm prepared to receive her. But when people say, I'm just going with the flow, but they're not putting any work towards themselves, any inner work, they're not really, there's no mindfulness. It's very chaotic up in there. And so that is what the problem lies. A lot of people, what they do is they're working. They're constantly on the go. And then they hit 45 and then they come to me and they say, oh my God, I haven't had a relationship. I don't know what I'm doing. And I really feel lonely and empty inside. And I feel like there's a pattern of, and I'm not going to say every man, is in the same category. Of course not. Everybody's so different. But the men that come to me generally, I do see this a lot. And again, society has a big role to play in this because, we are programming men to be providers and leaders. And I think sometimes that the message gets misconstrued where men think that only if I provide, only if I'm successful and wealthy, then I'm going to find a woman. Right? And that was true back in the day because women didn't know how to have a relationship. They didn't know what toxic relationships meant. They just stayed in it for years and years and years. Now we have so much information on emotional regulation. What is a narcissist look like? Like I found that out a couple years back. So none of these things were there. So now women are kind of women and men were waking up to all of these things, how to be in a healthy relationship. Going with the flow sounds nice, but it's a bit of a cop-out because if you think about it in love and business, it's a way of letting life happen to you instead of actually, taking control and taking charge. Internal work is a difference between a life that drifts and one that thrives, right? And so doing the internal work is kind of like, if you think about it, it's like washing your car and making sure the tires are shiny and doing all of, your external of the car looks beautiful. But then you don't have the money or time to change your engine or to replace your brake oil. So internally, your car is about to fall apart, but externally, your car looks amazing, right? So it's kind of like the same thing as a human being. And what we're kind of taught to do is we're taught to put all of the effort on how we look to other people, but nobody really talks about inside. Now we are kind of getting into that, and I'm glad we are getting into that space for sure. And so you can look successful externally, attract the woman that you want. But if your internal engine is broken, then what happens is, your mind and your heart aren't properly aligned. When that happens, you're going to crash. And this is why internal work is super, uber duper critical. Now, another thing that I hear men say a lot is that I'll focus on my career first and everything else will fall into place. Now, I understand that because I'm a busy lady and I get it. When you're making that money and you're building something up from ground up, you do want to focus in on that. And especially with men, you guys have to pay for the first date and, you are investing into the woman. And so I do understand where men do come from, where they want to kind of, work on that as well first. But when somebody says, I just want to focus in on my career, but they think that just by going towards the career, but then not doing any sort of shadow work, any sort of internal work, leaving that all behind, that's what's going to get them real success and real wealth and real happiness. That is where the misalignment comes in. And so if you tend to neglect your emotional and mental health, then no amount of money, success, wealth is going to fulfill you. And that is, I love that Jim Carrey quote where he says, I just wish everybody could be, rich. So they see that it's not that big of a deal, because even when you're rich, you have everything that you can get. Yes, it's going to bring you temporary happiness. Okay, you can be comfortable. But what is a big mansion, without any, connections, friendships, relationships, love? You're able to share that with other people, give back. It doesn't feel that great to be lonely and by yourself, or depressed or unregulated or blowing up at people and projecting your insecurities. Because again, all of these emotions that we tend to carry from our past relationships, it's like a burden and it energetically weighs us down. So yes, to the outside world, you might look really great, but internally it's going to wreck your body. And this is one of the reasons I believe, you don't have to agree with this, but this is one of the reasons I believe we get cancer and diseases, because we hold on to these emotions instead of releasing them. And I'm actually going to make a video soon about shadow work and why it is so critical, not just to be in a relationship, but for your money, for your wealth, for your success. It literally is interconnected to everything. Another thing that I hear is that once I have more money, then I'll be happy. Okay, this is the biggest lie that anybody's ever sold us. Yes, having money, of course, I'm not going to sit here and say we don't need money and wealth is crap. No, of course, we all want to be able to live this abundant lifestyle 100%. But also knowing that with the wealth comes responsibility. Like, what are you doing with this wealth? Are you able to share it with the world? Are you able to give something back? Because, when you get something fast, it can also go away really fast. That's why so many of the, lottery winners, they lose the money because they're so just focused on the money so they can get, but then they don't end up giving to anybody. And then they end up losing, at least I believe, that's why they lose all their money, because they're focused on them and their ego and what they need, but they don't focus on giving back to other people. And I've definitely been there before, so I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm fully there. I'm a work in progress as well. But this is why I'm saying, when you have more money, more wealth, there needs to be an intention. What are you here to do with that wealth? Society has also, as I mentioned, brainwashed men into believing that wealth equals happiness. But the truth is that no amount of money will ever bring you the true inner fulfillment, that joy, that peace, that bliss. It's so true. I hear so many wealthy people say, like, wealth is great, but you have more problems. You have more bigger issues that you have to deal with when you do have all the money. And so I don't think people really think about the downsides to money. They just see the good parts of it and they're like, okay, I want the money. Where is the money? And also another thing that society tells us is that, if a man doesn't have a good amount of money, then women are not going to want to be with you. And I definitely see that, because I think to a woman, we're not really looking at, well, again, connected women. I'm not talking about all women. we're not really looking at the wealth and the cars. Some women are. I know they are. I know. Just calm down. But other women are really looking for safety and security so that when they're able to bear children for you and they're able to kind of stop working to nurture your kids and, build a family and home and all those kind of great things and be in their feminine energy, that means that they can trust you to lead the pack, right? Because sometimes what happens is women, again, I know I spoke about this in another video, but they trust the wrong men, but they're seeing these red flags and then they blame the men and they gaslight the man, which is not really the man's fault. He's shown you who he is from the very beginning, but you just didn't believe him. And also a lot of men, they're subconsciously programmed to chase the wrong things in life because you've been taught that success equals your worth. So in order for you to be loved, to show how worthy and enough you are as a man, you need to be successful, right? And so again, we need to, as women, also need to realize just how men need to see how we have been programmed. As women also need to see how men have been programmed and why do they think these things, because it tells you a lot about why men behave the way that they do. Success is an important part of life, but again, what is your definition of success? Again, this is why I always ask, you have to ask good questions when you're dating, because my success is waking up in the morning and having peace and being purposeful and doing something that, is you're able to give something back to the world. Somebody else's version of success is something else, right? So a lot of the times people project their versions of success onto me or other people they're watching on socials or whatever, YouTube. So always make sure you know what the definition of that person is, because we all see words, we all think very differently based on our past experiences and our traumas and all those kind of great things. So women also, apart from success, we're looking for internal confidence, right? And self-awareness. This is the two of the most important things as men, being self-aware of how you're coming across and being empathetic as well. And that's actually going to give women real security, which sometimes men they don't really maybe understand this part also, because society right now is going after productivity. The more productive you are, the more worthy you are of love, which is like the worst thing ever, because in order to love, you have to be present, you have to be calm, you have to be mindful, you have to be aware. It's literally doing the opposite and teaching the opposite of what love truly is. Anyways, that's a whole different conversation. But basically, when you work on building inner peace and confidence before the money, or also you can do it during the money. As you're building your business, it's not like you have to go in this, what is that word called? Solitude. Just leave everybody and just be at peace within yourself and then not work. You can do these things at the same time where you're building an empire. But at the same time, you're also working on your emotional health and your well-being and learning how to regulate yourself, learning these tools, because this is what women are looking for. And not even forget about women. This is what you need to be looking for. A lot of the times I use women to motivate men, but I don't give a shit about women. What do you want? Because you are the one that matters. Because if you don't think that these things are important for your well-being, you're never, the woman is going to come and go and you're going to find her attractive, and then you're not going to find her attractive, and then you're going to go back into your old patterns. So these are, you have to understand, do the research behind why it is so impactful to do this work on yourself. Because I have been in a relationship with somebody where I was that control freak, as I mentioned, quite a lot now. And I wanted to control because I didn't have control in my past, in my childhood. And so, he kind of, what he did was he pretended to do this inner work to show me that, oh, look, I'm doing this work. Look, you told me, and I'm a changed man now, and I've worked on myself. But then a week later, it's like it goes back into the same old patterns and habits, because that person really did not see the value and didn't really understand why it is so important. So this is why I'm saying is yes, a woman is going to motivate you just for a little bit, but motivation doesn't work, to be quite frank, because motivation is going to fade. You're going to have those days when you don't want to do this work. And that is where you need the discipline, and you need to know why you're doing it. What is your why? If your why isn't bigger than, that short-term pain, you're not going to do it. You're never going to get there. Another thing that I hear men say is that I don't need therapy or self-help. I'm just going to work harder, right? We all hear this. And the thing is, working harder, but without self-awareness, it's like you're just grinding, but with no direction. You don't know where you're going. You're aimlessly just shooting shots, missing, and then getting frustrated. So hard work is a tool, but it's not a solution, right? And so the real breakthrough is going to happen when you understand that these mental blocks that are holding you back. Once you realize this, oh my God, it's such a life-changing. This is why I do what I do, because the reason what made me fall in love with coaching is when I would coach a man, the starting, and I would see his expression and something click and shift. I could literally see that energetic shift in a man, go from that mindset that he was programmed from, and watch him shift into the newer version of him, where he's able to process his emotions and be more aware and mindful and do this work on himself. And he's not perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. But we have that awareness that I can't just move and rush through life. And also, men who avoid self-help are often the ones who end up feeling isolated the most, right? They feel stuck in a pattern of stress and burnout, that constant chase. But never just, you don't have the time to stop and reflect on why you feel empty inside. What is the catalyst that is taking you in this route? And so self-awareness isn't weakness, but it is actually the foundation of your success, not just in love and relationships, but also your wealth, your money. It's connected with everything. And so without it, you're going to be stuck on a hamster wheel of busyness with no satisfaction at the end. Those are some of the things that I hear men say quite often. And I feel like we need to just understand, when you feel like you're saying this quite a lot, you have a pattern of saying this, kind of stop and just wait and think, why am I saying this? Is this something that I have been saying throughout my life? Is this a pattern? Where has this come from? Just stop and be aware. I would recommend for you to just watch yourself. That's it. Don't even do anything. Don't even read any books. Don't do any of that. Just observe what you're speaking, what you're thinking, what are the repetitive thoughts, patterns, behaviors, habits you keep doing over and over again. I heard Jim Rohn say this, where he was kind of talking about sometimes as human beings, forget men or women, we don't want to make a change in our life or go towards the unknown because we're scared. We have fear in us. We're not really living out of love. And one thing that, we say to ourselves, and again, I hear this as well, is that I'm just going to wait for the right time. That time's never going to come. This is never, ever, ever going to be a right time. Like today, I didn't feel like making this video, to be honest, because I had some things happening. My granny's a bit sick. But I said, no, I said that I committed to myself that I'm going to do this. I know I said it 3 times, but I'm doing it twice. But it's okay. I'm still committing to it. So sticking to your word, even when you don't want to do something, is so important. So just by waiting, people think that fear is going to dissipate. But that is the biggest lie, biggest myth that we've all been told. I don't know. We have this in our mind that somehow that fear is going to go away. It's not true. Fear doesn't go away while you wait. It's always going to linger there no matter what. It actually just gets worse and worse. The antidote for fear is action. When you act, instead of remain stuck in that fear, that procrastination, you're overthinking, oh my God, if I do this, this is going to happen. And people are going to say this and people are going to judge me for this. And oh my God, this is so difficult. When you're in that mindset, nothing's going to work out. Your gifts, your talents, the purpose, the reason why you're here, it's all going to go to waste. It's like your precious life is going to waste every single day, the more that you keep remaining stuck in this fear. And, when you act, also your fear shrinks. It's not going to go away. I'm not going to say that it goes away, because I thought that once I come out on here on YouTube and once I do a bunch of things that makes me scared, then fear just goes away. But that's not true. It just makes you a little bit more stronger to handle it. You're like, okay, I've done this a couple of times, so now I can really get into it. I've practiced. That's another thing with fear, is the more that you practice, the better you're going to get at it, right? And also your confidence grows the more that you do something. Your future aligns with your present actions, the person you are. That is why I always say discipline is the most important thing in love and in money and success. Because if you're just going to do things when you feel good, if you're somebody who allows your excuses to overpower your decisions, then that is going to lead you down a pathway of unhappiness and, lack of success and bliss and all those kind of things. So this is why I always talk about that. And also another thing, readiness is a decision, right? No one is ever going to be ready. I never was ready to be a mother. When I found out that I was pregnant, I was like, I'm not ready to be a mom. I don't know how to, I didn't know, but it happened. And that's what I'm saying, is like, there's never going to be a right time for these things to happen. There's never going to be a right time to start a business. There's never going to be a right time to start your own podcast. There's never going to be a right time to go and strike up a conversation up to a girl at a gym. You know what I mean? You just have to do it. And screw it if it sucks. Screw it if you suck. It doesn't matter. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it, okay? The time is now. That's all you need to know. Your time is now. You don't know how many more days, how many more hours, how many more years you have left. I don't know how much time I have left. So why do we live like we have 8 billion years left to go? We don't. Oh my God, my neighbor's going to think I'm like screaming at somebody when I'm just screaming at myself. I mean, a bunch of people on YouTube that I don't know. But no, actually, I do know some of you guys. Okay, never mind. So decide that you're ready and take the next step, whether it is to hire a coach, whether it is to maybe start a meditation instead of waiting to be ready. Decide, make a decision. I'm ready. I'm tired of living this life. And I want to be the best version of myself so I can attract the best version, the kind of woman that I'm looking for. And so take that next step, no matter how messy and uncomfortable it feels, because God damn it, it's going to feel uncomfortable. Okay. And so your future self is counting on you to make that move today, because the longer that you wait, the more time is going past you. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to have any of these regrets on my deathbed. Lastly, I do want to let you guys know that I do offer 15-minute fit calls. Previously, I was offering 30-minute free strategy calls. I don't do those anymore. Just letting you guys know in case you join and you're like, where are these half-an-hour calls? I don't offer them anymore. So yes, I do offer 15-minute fit calls. And so this call is for men who are tired of wasting their time and they are ready for real actionable change. No fluff, no BS, because as you guys can see, I don't BS. I don't have time to BS. So let's just get clear on where you are right now and where you want to be and how to kind of bridge that gap. That is what a coach does, is I take you from point A to point B, where you want to go. And I have techniques and methods that I've worked for a very long time. And I know that it is going to work for you as well. And also, I'm intuitive. I can, literally see you in 5-10 minutes and I can tell you straight away what is holding you back. What are your blocks? And so if you are interested in finding out more, check my link down below. But again, I want to say thank you so much for spending your time with me. I know everybody's time is so valuable. And so I appreciate your time. And I'm going to see you guys in my next video.